Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Welcome to the 9 p.m. English News Edition. Here are the top stories. The head of state assisted at the obsesses of Regreti Ali Gele. For the international news, progressive deconfination from May 4th in Nigeria. Hello, welcome to our newsroom for having the news in details. The head of state, Mr. Ismail Omar Gele, attended last night the funeral of the late Ali Gele Abu Bakr, the burial ceremony of the man who was minister to the presidency in charge of investments since 12 May 2016. The date on which he joined the government took place at the PK-12 cemetery. In addition to the Prime Minister, Mr. Abdul Qadir Kamil Mohammed, members of the government as well as many parliamentarians took part in the ceremony. A member of the Front for the Restoration of Unity and Democracy, fruit of which he has one of the most prominent leaders, the late Ali Gele Abu Bakr, died yesterday after a long illness, a model of success and achievement. The late Ali Gele Abu Bakr was part of a small circle of individuals whose social ascension in no way alters their ability to remain always humble and sympathetic. A honorable father, he was unanimously esteemed by all the components of our nation. We pray Allah Azza wa Jal to welcome him into his eternal paradise. The President of the Republic, His Excellency Mr. Ismail Omar Gele, deplores the loss of one of the most illustrious sons of the Jewish nation, Minister Ali Gele Abu Bakr, who was called back to God this Monday afternoon after a long illness. Our nation will never cease to carry him in its heart for the crucial role he played in the effort to restore harmony and national unity in the 1990s, the President said. A visionary endowed with a great professional experience, he was charming through his charisma and his ability to make important and judicious decisions quickly. The head of state also said, recalling many economic development projects that he initiated and supervised their implementation. May God, Allah, welcome him in his eternal paradise, and implore President Ismail Omar Gele before expressing his sadness, condolences, and sympathy to his family, relatives, and friends, as well as to the many colleagues and collaborators he had in the course of his long professional career. We pray Allah Azza wa Jal to welcome him into his eternal paradise. Inna lillah wa inna ilayhi raj'un.
فادخلي في عبادي وادخلي جنتي.
اللهم افسح له في قبره، اللهم افسح له في قبره، اللهم ادخله الجنة بغير حساب، اللهم ادخله الجنة بغير حساب، اللهم ادخله الجنة بغير حساب برحمتك يا أرحم الراحمين. اللهم اغفر لنا وله ولكافة المسلمين، اللهم اغفر لنا ولوالدينا ولجميع المسلمين برحمتك يا أرحم الراحمين. اللهم أحينا حياة طيبة، اللهم أحينا حياة طيبة وأمتنا عند مجيء الأجل بحسن الخاتمة. وصلى الله على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم. سبحان ربك رب العزة عما يصفون وسلام على المرسلين والحمد لله رب العالمين.
With the disappearance of Ali Gele Abu Bakr, Djibouti has lost, an exceptional politician, a valiant patriot, a man who has left his mark on the annals and history of a country resolutely turned towards peace. Ali Gele Abu Bakr, who was involved in the independence movement at a very young age, then worked as an employee and executive in the ministry in charge between 1983 and 1990, has already left his mark on people's minds through his devotion, his attachment, and his deep admiration for the young republic. In 1991, Ali Gele participated in the creation of FRUIT, the Front for the Restoration of Unity and Democracy, After a few years of armed conflict, the peace agreement, the ABA agreement, the agreement of the brave, wisdom, kindness, temperance, and bravery are the attributes of the athlete of the livers, it is said. It is in this athlete and man of conviction that Ali Gel Abubakar, who will be among the men whom history will never forget and honor. He will be one of the main architects of peace, tracing by the same token and by this action the future of his country, a country of peace and national unity. With the agreement sealed, the late Ali Gel Abubakar will continue to work for the Republic of Djibouti by the first becoming, between 1995 and 1999, the assistant to the Chief of Staff of the President of the Republic, the late Haji Hassan Guled Abtidon. For some time now, his conviction for a better country have joined those of President Ismail Omar Guelleh, with whom he will share these values until his death. It is in this sense that in 1999, with his election to the Supreme Magistracy, President Guelleh appointed him to head his cabinet, a position he will hold until 2016. In order to consolidate peace in our country, he initiated political dialogue between the government and freed in 2000 and signed the agreement in 2001. He was then honored with the Medal of the Order of Commander of the Great Star. 2016 is an election year in Djibouti. The friendship and the deep understanding between men will push Ali Guelleh to occupy the post of companion director of the candidate Ismail Omar Guelleh, election at the end of which the deceased will be in charge of the Ministry of Investments. So many actions to name, but a few that will finally earn him the distinction by the President of the Republic with the rank of the high dignitary of Star of Djibouti. Moving now to another subject concerning the data of COVID-19 in Djibouti. This Tuesday, 28 April 2020, we have as follows. 321 tests were performed. Dr. Salah Bunaita, the Secretary General of the Health. 321 tests were performed. 37 cases positive to COVID-19. 21 cases cured after more than a month of epidemic. The balance is as follows. 12,571 tests were performed, 1,072 positive cases, 498 are confirmed cured, with the pro 2 death. The situation of the day is in line with the stabilization of the number of positive cases. This shows once again that the healthcare staff is doing a remarkable job, which should be congratulated both in terms of the early detection of cases and the search for contact persons. Remain vigilant and respect all the measures that have been taken. Stay at home, please. Moving now to another subject, the National Agency for Disabled Persons handed over protective materials and equipment to the Ministry of Health this Sunday, April 26, 2020. Indeed, the Director General, Mr. Dualis Eid Mahmoud, wished to contribute to the national effort to fight against the COVID-19 pandemic in our country. Received by the Secretary General, Dr. Salah Bunaita Trab, in the presence of the Director of CAMME and the Director of Pneumopsychological Hospital, Shakib Saad Omar. This equipment includes protective gowns, gloves, surgical masks, and thermometers, among others. The TG of ANPS, who did not fail to thank the Ministry of Budget for its precious support in the transportation of equipment, to underline that ANPS is grateful to all the medical staff for the mobilization they show every day and would like to give it all its support. The same nursing staff that accompanies the ANPS in its action of care and consultation for disabled people on a daily basis. For his part, the Secretary General of the Ministry of Health thanked the National Agency for Persons with Disabilities for this generous gesture, noting that it will contribute to the Minister's efforts to combat the coronavirus. Following the torrential rains that were recorded a few days ago throughout the country, the Technical Director of Water Exploitation of the ONIAD Ali Yusuf Gedi returned in particular on the water cuts that affected some districts of the capital. Indeed, it is within this frame, more precisely in the evening of Monday 2020 until Wednesday 22, what these cuts took place. And some reason are that several underground pipelines of the Oniyat and cable supplies this installation of the EDD were affected by this bad weather, particularly in Dorale, Nagad, and the city of Djibouti. The Oniyat and EDD teams immediately remediate these inconveniences which were beyond their control. During the 48 hours of water cut off in some districts of the capital, the Oniyat and EDD teams used this time to repair and replace all the defective cables and pipes or ducts and to serve the population of Djibouti in the best possible way. The city of Djibouti has an adequate supply of drinking water thanks to the government efforts to provide water between Djibouti and Ethiopia. The director of Oniyat finally took his opportunity to recall that things have returned to normal and that the people of Djibouti no longer have to fear cuts. Continuing his intervention on the microphone of our colleague Ahmed Humed, the technical director of water exploitation of Oniyat, Ali Yusuf Gedi, stopped on a problem that particularly affected Oniyat. It's about unfortunate people who peddle here and there that Oniyat isn't doing its job, or that it favors certain people over others, especially the most disadvantaged people. Oniyat's technical director said all these allegations were false and misplaced, and that since its inception Oniyat has had only one concern: the welfare of its people by distributing drinking water equitably. In addition, the technical director of Oniyat said that the people who were peddling this kind of information are the same people who are selling water from the existing public water bottles or fountains in the commune of Balbala. There are 70 fountains providing the inhabitants of the large Balbala suburb with drinking water in certain areas, but there are some ill-intentioned people, the very people who peddle this false information, who sell this water for free at the prices set by the latter. Alongside the illegal sale of this free public water, these malevolent people waste this sacred commodity by leaving fountains open, sometimes for hours. Oniyat's technical director once again reassured the population that the water pipes and mains have been repaired and the capital's water supply has been restored. Finally, Oniyat is carrying out titanic works after each rainfall, recording in the country and evacuates the water from the capital's main arteries. These agents work day and night alongside other private and public institutions, always for the well-being and safety of their fellow citizens. They deserve all our respect and recognitions. And now a ceremony of distribution of zakat of the year 2020-2021 was held yesterday in the Arta region, including the chief town and the locality of Wea. Organized by the Foundation of Diwan Zakat, which is the institution officially in charge of collecting the funds of the zakat and redistributing them among the population living in poverty. The event was attended by the director of Diwan Zakat, Mr. Suleiman Hussein Musa, and the representative of the local authorities. More than 140 families, including low-income families, the elderly, and the disabled in this region benefited from this annual gesture. On the other hand, the Diwan Zakat has also distributed the third and fourth installment of sponsorship for orphans in the Arta region, who have a number of 60 children. In a brief intervention, the head of the sponsorship department, Mr. Adel Hussein Aden, stated that this initiative is part of the foundation's effort to improve the daily living conditions of people living in poverty and orphaned children. Let us recall that the Arta region was the last stage of the regional tour of Diwan Zakat for the distribution operation of zakat and sponsorship of the past year 2019. Now, watch TV, reading, playing sport at home. Since March 24, it's mandatory for everyone to be confined. So to break the boredom and encourage young people to develop the state security for youth and sport, launched a jungling challenge on social networks. Several young people, boys and girls, took part, and 10 of the best in both categories were selected. The idea was to film themselves juggling a ball for as long as possible and send us the video. It is in this context that a committee composed mainly of the Secretary General of the SEGS, Mrs. Khadija Ibrahim Idris, the Director of the Institute, Mr. Saeed Ali Hussein, the Director of Sport, Mr. Afshar, the Advisor, Mr. Abdullah Hassan, the Director of the CDC's, Mrs. Khuraisha, the Head of Department and CDC's follow-up, Mr. Ahmed Ali, and several other personalities of the football went yesterday to the winners of the contest to deliver the gifts. It should also be noted that the second phase of contest will be launched soon. Stay tuned and do not miss it. Moving now on the international news, in Nigeria, which has 40 coronavirus-related deaths, will gradually the confinement from 4 May, but will impose a night's curfew and the wearing of masks. I have decided to put in place gradual the confinement measures announced the Nigerian President Muhammadu Buhari on Monday in a much anticipated television address. This measure will be put in place from 4th May. However, the most populous country in Africa remains cautious. We will put in place a curfew between 8 p.m. and 6 a.m., President Buhari said. Interstate borders will remain closed, except for basic necessities. We will impose the wearing of masks in public places as well as social distancing measures, the head of state added. These new measures will not apply to the state of Kano, which has recorded a large number of mysterious deaths in recent days, which are still being autopsied according to local authorities. Nigeria on Monday had nearly 1,300 official reported cases of coronavirus infection and 40 deaths, but many voices are being raised to denounce the insignificant number of tests carried out in this country of 200 million people. This is it for this edition. Thank you for watching us and have a wonderful night.
Nous informons notre aimable clientèle en attendant l'ouverture de nos guichets. Nous vous recommandons d'utiliser les paiements en ligne via les banques BCI MR, CAC Bank, Salam Africa Bank, Exim Bank, Sabah Africa Bank,